Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. My name is Kayla Bisbee, and I am the Family Outreach Coordinator for the Jewish Federation of Greater New Haven. And I'm so pleased to welcome you to our program today. As the mom of a 3-year-old who attends Beverly Levy Early Learning Center here at the JCC in Woodbridge, I am personally super excited to learn all about the best toys along with you today. Now, I would like to invite my dear friends, Nikki Gallos and Shelley Kier, who are co-chairs of Shalom Baby, along with their mothers, Arik Perkins and Stephanie Wayne, to share a bit about Shalom Baby before we get started. Thank you.
Hi guys, my name is Nikki Golis and I'm co-chairing this with Shelley Kier and each of our moms, which you have to admit is pretty cute. Shelley and I both have littles at Ezra Montessori, as well as babies born in 2020, and we are so proud to be helping bring Shalom Baby to the community. This is an outreach initiative of the Women's Philanthropy Division of the Jewish Federation of Greater New Haven, in which we do socially distanced drop-offs of gift bags to young families in the area that have welcomed a baby. The bags are filled with really cute gifts and resources, and it's just been a really meaningful opportunity to touch base with new parents who can be so isolated during the pandemic. Shell, do you want to jump in?
Absolutely. It's just a really beautiful chance to show new families that we're all in this together and that the Jewish community is here to support them. Nikki and I grew up in the Greater New Haven area, and we know how special this community is. So we want to share it. If you are expecting or recently welcomed a baby, please sign up for one of these gift bags so that we can connect with you and show our support. Kayla is going to drop the link in the chat box. And grandparents of new babies, that goes for you too. We would love to gift you a Shalom Baby bib and add you to our grandparent list for special events just for you.
Thank you so much, Nikki and Shelley. So as Shelley mentioned, for our grandparents joining us today, if you have recently or will soon welcome a grandbaby, please let us know. We would love to gift you with a Shalom Baby bib and add you to our grandparent list for special events just for you. And while today is a Shalom Baby program, I want to make sure you have all of the kids in your life from newborn to 12 years old signed up for PJ Library to get their free book every single month and to stay in the loop with all of our programs and events. Also, you may not know that grandparents can sign up for special grandparent subscription to PJ Library to receive special mailings throughout the year. And before we get started, I would love to get to know you all just a little bit in the chat box. So if you are a parent, let me know in the chat box, what are the ages of your kids? If you are a grandparent, how many grandkids do you have? And who thinks that they have the youngest grandchild? I know we've got some very new ones. And finally, what was your favorite toy when you were growing up? Because I know that we all have short memories. I'm gonna add these into the chat box. All right, so now finally, what you all are here for, I want to thank Mick Hershman for joining us from one of Mick and Lori's adorable toy stores today. And after spending 6 years in the human services field in Massachusetts, Lori and her husband Mickey came back to Connecticut to their roots to try their luck in retail. That was in 1986, and they never looked back. They raised 3 boys and opened 3 toy stores, all while working together as a family. They are a true mom and pop, old-fashioned run business that has stood the test of time. They have a team of energetic staff, unrivaled customer service, offer free gift wrapping, and have gift certificates for those who can't make up their mind. The Hershmans deliver on the customer service promise, a customer experience promise every time, and I know that many of you can attest to that statement. It is their dedication to our community and always choosing the best in toys that makes their customers come back time and time again. So Mick, please take it away.
Wow, that was a wonderful introduction. Thank you. Had I written that myself, I couldn't have done a better job. What Kayla started alluding to is that our backgrounds, my wife and I, are in human services. My wife is a psychiatric social worker, and my background is in educational psychology. Having worked in bureaucracies for a long time, we realized this is not what we should be doing. And so we decided to take a venture here. And 32 years ago, hi, Sydney. 32 years ago, we opened up our first toy store, Jesse's. Prior to that, we started with a Hallmark store because our oldest son was a year old. That was Jordan. And after 10 years, we decided that Hallmark wasn't the way to grow, but educational toys were. So we went into educational toys. We opened up Jesse's 32 years ago. 28 years ago, little after Evan was born, we opened that up in Hamden. And then 10 years ago, we opened up a store in Guilford called Jordie's. And that's always an interesting story because Jordan is our oldest son, and for many, many years, he didn't have a store named after him. When we were looking at a lease and pursuing this location in Guilford, I called him up and I said, "So George, we've got a store lined up, but we're just not sure what to call it. Do you have any ideas?" He had some choice words for me.
You couldn't use those.
No, not today. And that's what we've been doing for the past 32 years. It's been fun. It's been crazy. The past year itself has been a reawakening, having been closed. As a matter of fact, this time last year we were closed. We were forced to shut down for a little over 70 days, and that was something that was unsettling because, first of all, we didn't know whether we would, how long it would take, whether we would be reopening. You know, there's only so much time you can remain closed. But something that's interesting, and I thought it put things in perspective for me, is that both of my parents were Holocaust survivors, and every day when we would be getting ready for bed, I'd always think that no matter what we were enduring during this pandemic, it had no resemblance to the amount of panic and chaos and fear that my parents experienced during their time, because for them it was a question of whether they'd be alive the next day. And that wasn't going to be an issue here as long as we did what was dictated by the protocol, social distancing and mask wearing. So that made things a little bit easier to bear. Little background. When my parents' concentration camps were liberated, they went to Israel. And that's where I was born along with my brother. And we were there for the first few years of our lives before we came to New Haven. And the reason we came to New Haven is my mom had a brother in New Haven in Westville. And so this is where we grew up. In fact, the old JCC downtown on Chapel Street is pretty much where I developed as an individual, because not only did I go there for Hebrew school 5 days a week. So when your kids and grandkids complain that they have to go twice a week, tell them that's nothing. We had to go 5 days a week back then, and that was through high school. And learning the social experience that the JCC offered, whether it was biddy basketball or swimming on the swim team or all of the things that the JCC offered, it was an incredible experience, including the JCC camp in Laurelwood. So that had a lot to do with my development. Any questions so far? Anyone have anything they want to ask of me? Okay.
This is an open forum. If anyone wants to throw a question for Mick in the chat box, or feel free to unmute yourself if you have any.
You lock me in? Thanks.
Okay, so I guess why toys?
That's a good question. And I don't know that I have, well, actually I do have a pretty good answer. My in-laws had a store in the Hamden Plaza called Sassen's Boutique. Many of you who grew up in this area may know or remember that. When we were complaining about some of the issues that were confronting our careers on Cape Cod, my mother-in-law said, you know, maybe you should try something different and come back here. I think the goal was to get us back to New Haven, and she was successful at that. So we saw this lease. This person was selling his business in what was then called Loman's Plaza, and it was a Hallmark store, and that's how we started. We opened that up, and we immediately got rid of the gifts that you typically find in a Hallmark store, and converted it to toys and educational things. And then we realized the Hallmark stuff wasn't worth, for us, continuing to carry that. So we got rid of it all. And when our lease was up, it was time to move on. And so we decided to concentrate exclusively on toys, and we did. And so that's how we jumped into the retail toy world. And it wasn't because we had a large background ourselves, my wife and I. Although for Thanksgiving and the holidays, occasionally we'd come home and spend a couple of hours in my mother-in-law's store helping. Actually, for me, it was just getting out of the way because I had no idea what was going on there. It was like a cyclone. For those of you who don't remember Sassen's Boutique, it was in the Hampton Plaza, and my mother-in-law's claim to fame was personalizing things and having walls of stickers. So that's how that happened. And we've just, developed into this fun, we try to create a fun environment, an atmosphere of shopping. And what we find is people especially when birthday parties were happening, and they seem to be starting to increase in frequency now. People would feel comfortable knowing that they could come in, find something, have it gift wrapped, get a card, and be on their way to the party. And I'm pretty excited about those days resuming. So I'm going, as I'm talking to you, I am walking backwards. I feel like a guide at a university tour. So you can see some of the things along the walls of our store. I'm not sure how clear that is, but we do carry a large line from birth through adults. We have some wonderful games for adults, and crafts, Lego, Calico Critters for those. And if I'm saying a concept or a theme that no one has heard about, please feel free to ask me about it. We have dress up, Lego, Calico dolls.
Mick, what's your most popular baby doll?
Probably the Corolla line would be our most popular. It's the concept was designed in France. They are very reasonably priced. They're soft. Some of them are made to be placed in the bathtub.
There they are.
They have a nice scent to them, sort of like baby and vanilla.
Are those them right there?
Yes.
That one right there in the middle, my daughter got that one for her first birthday, and it is still one of her favorites. So I can vouch, if you have a little person in your life, these are wonderful, wonderful baby dolls.
They are great dolls. I have, if I can brag a little bit, I have 5 grandkids.
Please brag. Must.
And thank you. Our first grandchild is a boy, and so we thought, here we go again. We're going to have all boys, but the next 4 were girls, and there's something very special about having a girl in your life. But all of them have Carole dolls, and they one of them has like 12 dolls, so why stop at one? But here is our other sections of the store, and we're walking backwards through. We've set up the store. Can everyone can you still hear me? Because I'm moving further and further from my modem.
Yes,
Okay.
the screen gets a little bit shaky if you move too fast. And then we're just starting to lose you a little bit.
Oh,
Now you're breaking up.
okay. Okay, I'm gonna head back the other way.
Okay.
We've set up the store. We've put it together in a developmental format so that it's easy to navigate, because from birth on, and I can show that section of the store to you, but you won't be able to hear me because that's the furthest part of the store from the modem in the store. But we have a large section of things for newborns. Then we get into 1-year-olds, 18-month-olds, 2 years.
So maybe you could give
There's
us some highlights of some of those favorites for each of those ages and stages, because I'm pretty sure we have each of those represented on this phone call right now. Or Zoom
okay.
call, I should say.
What I'm gonna do, because my hunch is my voice
Oh, we're losing you again, sir.
am I am I heard right now? Can you hear me? So
So your screen is still frozen.
here is a section of,
Here we go. So Mick, maybe go back closer to the modem and just tell us about it.
okay. So yeah, we may have to start at the 1-year section. But in through here, all of our manufacturers have the expectation that the child will be putting everything into their mouths. So there cannot be any choking hazards in any of this. We pretty much stock from ceiling to the floor, and but you know, things like great things to be chewed and to be snuggled with. We have some really soft blankets. This guy's been around forever. Who's it? Does that ring a bell to people? He's been around where he's just so awkward that he.
Mick, I hate to tell you this. I am like hanging on your, oh no, did we lose you? Oh shoot. All right. Oh wait. Oh no, hold on. He's on another screen. 1 second, everyone. Mick, I can see you elsewhere and you're muted. Here we go.
So maybe go where you were originally, because we heard everything originally, wherever you were.
Yeah, wherever you just went, your network bandwidth got really low and we lost you.
Because the story of your family, we heard you perfectly.
Mick, you're still muted. There you go.
Better?
Yes.
Okay. So in through here we have our 1-year section, and a lot of great stimulating concepts from pegboards, again with nice big chunky pieces, mag coordination, color matching. This is our best-selling item here, the Fun Time Tractor. I don't know if you can see that.
Hey, Mick, I'm afraid that we might lose you again because it says that your network.
In here, we have our 18-month-old section, and we have some neat Okay. Uh, Okay,
Just stay there.
Kayla, we're okay now?
It still says that your bandwidth is low, so I think you need to go back where you started.
Okay, well, we probably have to, let's look at we may have to jump from birth to the 3-year-old section because I think the further I am from the modem.
So what, someone made a good suggestion, Mick, if you could stand in one spot
the
near your modem and turn
harder
your camera around.
I'm using a laptop,
Ah. Okay,
so there's no camera. There's no camera on the front of this.
okay.
But there's a whole slew of fun. These are magnetic building where we have magnetic animals. Sydney, is there anything on these shelves that you don't have already?
No, I have everything. For many years, and I've taken very good
This
advice
is
from
a
you, sir.
really good. When people talk about how talented and gifted their 3-year-old is, this is one of the things we like to show them. For those who want to teach the alphabet at an early age, this is a great way to do it and keeping it fun. We have building toys. We have this new sensory line that's pretty spectacular. An old classic cash register that teaches math skills.
This is for
Dollhouses.
3-year-olds, you said?
Correct. Yes, everything in through here is 3.
All right, so
And-
Arit, pay attention. There's a birthday coming.
There'll be a quiz at the end of this, so make sure you do pay attention. This is a great building line, Magna Tiles.
Yes.
Oh,
see that?
yeah, everyone
And-
loves those.
And they have expanded into these 3-dimensional ones called cubics.
Cool.
The Melissa and Doug line, we carry a lot of Melissa and Doug.
There's lots of head noddings happening. Yep.
And something, I don't know if any of you saw that little story about Melissa a couple of weeks ago on the news.
Mhm.
But she's been, they're a very generous family. They are a very generous family. They've been very successful, and they really started with very little and built it into a mammoth
And they're
corporation
Connecticut based, right?
that they've
We were just
recently
discussing
sold.
this in the office.
Back to dolls. Yeah, they're out of Westport.
Right.
Mick, I have
Um,
a question.
Sure.
I've never been to your store, unfortunately, but my mom goes there all the time. And every time she does, she comes home with like the best present for my son. He's about to be 3, and they're always completely unique. And I think, as a parent, we have Amazon and we have access to so many toys, but how do you always help my mom to find the best toy? Like, how do you walk somebody through that, the perfect fit for a kid?
We try to ask a couple of questions to gauge a child's interest, and I think having some experience at this, when people come in and provide us with information about a child's loves and interests, it's a little bit easier to find those things that cater to those interests. And then sometimes we say, let's get the child out of their comfort area and find something a little bit different. When someone comes in and says he loves puzzles, and his last birthday party he received 30 puzzles. Well, we don't need to get him another puzzle. Let's find something else that might be a little bit. There's, just like puzzles became an area of interest, maybe there's another item that will become the next area of interest. And I think being a father and having done this and watched what my kids loved, and also having that background in educational psychology, that doesn't hurt to put it all together. So this whole line of calico critters for kids 3 years and up, it's the beginning of imaginative play. And for kids who love to use their imaginations, and for parents who want their kids to be away from screens, this is a great way to start. And you have large families of animals, accessories, rooms, structures.
Oh, that's. Can you please also show your breathing animals?
You have breathing animals?
It's
Also,
not,
I
Like
just,
your breathing toys. I mean, your breathing toys that look exactly like animals. That's what I mean.
and Mick, just quickly, we've had a request, if you could try to
We-
hold the laptop a little bit more still so that we can get a more clear picture.
that is the furthest part of the store, but
You know.
Uh,
It sounds like breathing animals are a reason for people to go in.
so this is
I mean, no, wait. Nikki, you have to see
okay.
this.
So this is and I'm taking this to a different part of the store, but because you can't really see. Can you see this?
Yes.
Well,
Well,
this,
but
Not-
no, your hand isn't lifted up well enough. You lift it up further.
okay. Bear with me 1 second. Does that come
Yeah.
through?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yes.
much better. Yes, the more we can hold it still, the better.
So in through here, this animal is breathing. And what's really cool about this line, and they make a wide range of cats and dogs, is there's probably nothing in the store that caters to a wider range of age, because very young kids find this appealing, and those living in nursing homes find it equally appealing because it's a sense of companionship. So here's some craft things. We've got a couple great lines, and this is why I had to give up my career as a hand model, because I might be blocking what you're saying.
You just,
But-
if you could move it much more slowly, there, that's much better.
That's good.
Okay.
Yeah, no, my 3-year-old would go nuts over all of these things.
You know, we also have sections in the store for kids to play in, so that,
So fun. Are you able to do that now?
do you want me to start playing with the toys in the store? Is that what you're asking?
It means during the pandemic.
Absolutely. Per COVID regulations. So my
Yeah.
daughter wears a mask quite nicely. She's learned very well here at Beverly Levy Early Learning Center to wear her mask. And so she does a very good job in stores. I just wonder, I've hesitated to bring her into the store, not knowing what she can and can't touch.
We're pretty good about cleaning after people play. So
Great.
here we get into puzzles. Is this too far? Because
No,
we
that's
start with
wonderful.
very young puzzles for like 35 and 60 pieces, and I think it's really well organized. And I have to say, my wife is responsible for the organization and the buying of the things that you see on the shelves. If it was left to me, I don't think we would have been here as long as we've been here.
Julie Katz, I want to hear from you now that I see in the chat box that not only do you work for Melissa and Doug, but you also used to work with Legos. I adore that we have another toy person here. I think that's wonderful.
Oh, great.
Yeah, I'm newer to the toy industry than Mick is, for sure. I worked with Lego a few years ago and just started at Melissa and Doug at the end of August. So it's been great. And I am in the innovation department, so thinking up all the great new toys that your kids are going to play with. So I'm interested to hear from Mick about what kids these days and parents these days are really interested in that maybe doesn't exist yet, that people really want. And yeah, I'm just interested to hear from him.
So cool.
Just before we get into that, something that Doug, from Melissa and Doug, whoop, I don't have any screen here. One of the things that Doug did 30 years ago, because he used to call on us to see what we needed. But one of the things he did is he called us up and said, I'd like to put in a rack of puzzles, wooden puzzles in your store, and you don't have to pay for any of it until you start selling it. And I thought, what a strange concept. How long can you stay in business giving people free things? But it was brilliant in the sense that he was putting a footprint in all the stores that he was engaged with, and only grew that section of real estate. And that's been very evident here, that the amount of space devoted to Melissa and Doug product is mammoth. So really pleased.
Amazing.
Now we just have to change Doug's allegiance from the New York Mets and New York Yankees to other teams.
So Nick, how many employees do you have? I know that it's you and Lori, and you mentioned this morning running from another one of your shops to unload a pallet before you got started here with us today. So what does that look like for you?
We pretty much have 10, 12 people in each location.
Okay.
That's always an interesting thing, in the sense that we see parents who come in with their kids who used to work here as teenagers in high school, and you wonder, how did this person ever grow up to become a parent? When you consider, they would want to call in sick because my boyfriend didn't respond to my text today, and I'm heartbroken, and I can't come in. And now they're responsible for 3 kids.
Yeah.
So I guess we all grow up at some point.
Indeed.
And that's always fun too. I get to regress, and I get to I think stay in touch with youth, or as Joe Pesci would say, youths. It's a lot of fun, and that's one of the great things about what I do, is that there are a lot of aspects to this. It's not just opening boxes and putting things on the shelf. That's the less glamorous. It's engaging with our customers and seeing their families grow, and seeing, 30 years ago, it was parents coming in to buy things for their kids, and now it's their grandparents buying things for their grandchildren. And being around the young high school and college age kids, I do think I have the best job around. I'm sure a lot of you would argue that point, because you probably love what you do as well. But I'm having a good time. This is fun.
That's beautiful.
The pallet this morning, that was not fun. Make no mistake about that. On Sunday mornings, that's not what I want to do. But we do what we have to do. So.
Mick, is Playmobil still hot? I mean, that was the thing we were buying all the time. There has been a replacement for it, or?
Well, actually, Playmobil has grown as well. You bring up a great question. And can you see what I'm showing you here?
Yeah.
Does that come
Yes.
Yes.
through? This is Playmobil, and am I freezing?
A little bit.
Okay, but we have Playmobil may occupy one of the largest square foot sections of our store, and partially because it is just for it defines imaginative play. They don't give you a lot of electronics and things that cause they want you to be the focus of play, as opposed to something else being done for you that's battery or electronic driven. And so we do an awful lot with Playmobil, and that's true in all the stores. And in fact, we don't have rooms in this store, this is a pretty much wide open design, but in our Hamden and Guilford store, we actually have a room devoted to Playmobil. And when people ask, why do you devote an entire room to Playmobil? The answer is because it warrants an entire room. So,
What age? What age? Can't remember.
Playmobil
Ah.
is primarily 4 and up. And they have a whole division for younger kids, 18 months.
Oh,
Playmobil 1, 2, 3. And we actually separate that out from the traditional Playmobil section. We keep that with our 18-month-old section. And great because the pieces are a little bit larger and chunkier. They can be integrated later into traditional Playmobil, but they do not pose a choking hazard. And it's a great line. Who has questions for me?
So I'd like to ask what you have in the way of outdoor play.
We have it, we have an entire section, but my fear is that I'm going to lose you because again, that's the furthest part from where
Oh, well, then stay right there and tell me
modem-
about it.
tell me when I start to lose you, okay? Because I'm walking toward, can you still
We're losing you.
hear me?
We lost
No.
you at the dinosaurs.
Okay. We have quite a bit in our, we have quite a nice, can you hear me now?
That's better.
Any better? Okay, yeah, there seems to be one section of the store that stands out. We do have a nice outdoor section from stomp rockets and large selection of frisbees and just there's some I feel a little bit frustrated that I can't bring the computer there because I keep freezing that. That's the farthest part of the store.
No worries. I have
but-
heard recently, Marjorie Drucker, who's our president of the Jewish Historical Society, just stopped in the other day and mentioned that she had stopped by your store and got the stomp rocket for one of her grandkids. I've heard that that's a really popular one.
Stomp rockets are a lot of fun, and it brings out the kids in all of us.
Yeah.
You get to step on something and watch something shoot up into the
And who doesn't love that?
Who doesn't love that? In fact, just a little side story. When we're doing this with, I have 4 grandkids in Vermont, and when we were there before the pandemic and shooting the stomp rockets up, one of them landed on my son's roof, and my grandson immediately ran into the house, grabbed a pair of goggles, and I said, Andrew, what are you doing? Why the goggles? I said, Poppy, we have a mission here. So his mission required that he wear goggles to get the rocket off the roof.
Cute.
Or Umi goggles, as my daughter says.
Yeah. So
That's cute.
what else? What can we do to help make this? Ooh,
Tell me about that math cash register again.
Sure. It's a great cash register. Let me bring it to you here because are you seeing it in the screen there?
Yeah.
It has cash in coin and paper.
I see an adventure van and we can't.
It allows kids to pretend like they're merchants. They get to use this cash register that has a keypad. It comes with a credit card. It comes with coin and paper money. a little scale so they can pretend like they're weighing things at the grocery store or wherever things get weighed. Um,
That
it
is so cute.
and it also
Oh, that's
not
so
only
cute.
does it introduce kids to concepts of money and numbers, but it has quizzes built into it with different levels of play. So it can be used as an academic educational resource as well. So
Very cool. So we have just a few more
Yeah.
minutes here. Did anyone else have questions they wanted to bring up for Mick? Feel free to unmute yourself.
Mickey, Linda Rieger here. Can I take a look at the 3D or tell me a little bit more about the 3D Magna Tiles?
sure. Hi, Linda. How are you?
Good, Mickey. How are you?
So Linda Rieger is one of the people on this call today whose daughter actually worked with us for a while.
Oh, that's nice.
But not the one who waited to leave for her boyfriend. She really loved it. And my two granddaughters
No,
own an awful lot of Mickey's store.
no, that's true. That no, and by the way, one of the women who didn't want to come in that day is now a pediatrician in Philadelphia.
Oh, that's nice.
So this, can you see this? This is called Cubics, and this is made by the Magna Tiles people, and it's a three-dimensional magnet. And one of the great things about Magna Tiles is that no matter what you're trying to do, all you'll get is attraction. Normally magnets attract and repel, and this only attracts. So
Oh,
and they come in two sizes.
This works with all the other Magna Tiles.
Well, magnets work with magnets, but they're
Yeah.
not the same dimensions. So it's a separate entity.
Okay, thank you.
And they make this in a larger size as well. So,
Coolest.
yeah.
Did anybody else have anything they wanted to add or ask?
Hi, my name is Ariana, and I'm actually a school social worker, so I think it's really cool to learn the background of you and your wife. But now with COVID going on, I've had to do a lot of group sessions through the computer. So now we're like having Zoom meetings with kids to develop social skills. One of the things that I would do with them in person is I would play games with them. But trying to find a platform to do that with kids has been very difficult. So I'm wondering if there's anything that you're aware of that's going to be either easily translatable to do with kids in like a Zoom group session. Something that I have in my mind. So for the person working for Lego or Melissa and Doug, what I've been looking for, and a lot of other school social workers too, is just those games that you can play with the kids through the computer. So something similar to like Jackbox TV, because I saw that you went to like an older games section as well, but something that's more for kids. The biggest thing that we've been using is a free platform called Kahoot, which is more trivia, but it's been very difficult to work with kids who have they have the Chromebooks, but they're logged out of the Chromebook store. So any kind of game like Uno that we could have played that way is kind of off the table when you're doing everything with kids on the computer. Do you have any
Right.
suggestions? Like I've gotten kids hooked on Mad Libs a little bit, but that's been kind of tricky too.
Sure.
Thank
Well,
you.
there's an interesting, we had a couple, and the main part of my screen is black right now. Is there a reason why I'm not seeing?
Oh, I have my little guy
Oh, there you go. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry.
here.
Um, but there are a couple of games, and I don't know that this would translate to your classroom, but I don't see why it couldn't. There's a story that we have a couple of grandparents who were getting tired of doing puzzles every night. And they, as you know, traveling was at a halt. So what they did is they asked for a game that they would enjoy playing. And the game that we talked about with them is what perhaps our best selling game in the store. It's called Genius Square. And Sydney and some other people there might remember what I'm talking about, but it's a great
Yes.
game, and you're never going to play the same game twice by virtue of how the game has been designed. And they loved it so much that they sent a copy to their grandkids on the West Coast so they could all play together through Zoom. And that's one way of getting everyone together, but it would require that they all have copies of the game, and I'm not sure that's a feasible concept for you.
Yeah, that's been the tricky part why Jackbox TV, I never took the time to like set up another laptop to put to the Xbox or whatever. But because it has those codes where kids can go to the website and log in, that made it a little bit easier. So that's something that I haven't really seen with toy companies yet to
Mhm.
catch up with this kind of Zoom interactive
Phenomenon.
play. That's
Right.
something
Julie,
that's definitely missing.
Take a note here, Julie.
Yeah, keep me posted. I'll be your guinea pig. I work with
Yeah,
middle school
we're
kids.
trying to keep it totally screen free, so probably we're not the company for that, but anything screen free that's going to engage kids' imaginations is what Melissa and Doug is all about.
So
Absolutely.
Linda said in the chat box, what about Pictionary or categories?
I've tried those a little bit, but the issue is with the kids too. They kind of want more of the interactive thing. Well, the other thing is too, I work primarily with special ed kids, so their range of what they understand also varies. So I was able to do like a game of Mad Libs with the kids through the computer because we could, this sounds so silly, but because the kids have the grammar way to edit, we were able to do it that way where I could pull up a digital file and then add in what the kids were saying with the nouns, verbs, that sort of thing. Kahoot, that's trivia, so they could log in, and it has more of the bells and whistles that they like too, so they feel like they're playing a real game, even though it's just trivia about whatever it might be. I tried like categories, but that was just too far for them to understand. And the same thing for Pictionary, because even though I might be working with a kid that's 14, really they're more like at a 10-year-old level. So it's trying to find things that are age appropriate for them, I guess more developmentally appropriate, but not insult them in a way too, because they can be very sensitive to something that does seem too babyish. But when we were in person, we would play apples to apples, we would play Uno. I mean, any sort of board game is what we were doing. But a lot of those board games haven't switched to a digital way where you can just give them access codes where I'm the primary owner. So kind of like what Mick was saying is everyone had their own version. I'm looking to see if there's anything out there that I could be the primary owner, but then give the kids access to come and join me to play in a virtual way. Because for schools right now, I think at least for another year or two, we're going to have this strange hybrid until the kids are able to get vaccinated with how schools
You know, there's
respond
this
to COVID.
great game called Timeline, whose goal is to try to get you to place your cards in an appropriate place in across history when things happened, and so you're trying to find where they sit across different times, and they have different categories, different themes, and that might be something that you could do virtually as well.
How about games for adults again, other than Genius, whatever that was, which I
Genius
have.
Square.
Yeah.
For
us sick of puzzles, and
yeah.
Other than the Pictionary and categories, which we've all done, we're
We do have Ticket to Ride and Catan. We have some of the classics, the Monopolies and the Clues, and the games that we even Life and the games that we have that are the same names of the games that we played with as kids when we were kids. These are the classic editions, so they are going to be the exact same board. Monopoly nowadays can be purchased with 20 different themes, different cities and different, but the ones we carry are the classics that we had when we were younger. But I think Ticket to Ride and Catan would be great games for that. And we have the classic Scrabble as well, and there are some other games like Itsy and Slapsy, which are vocabulary or picture based that I think would appeal to adults. When my kids come home, we always try to bring. We haven't. Well, when my kids come home, we try to bring a game home that we think will appeal to them, and these are some of the games that we've been successful with. Even Rummy Cube. It's the gin rummy with tiles, which allow you to manipulate the board. So, yeah.
Well, Mick, I want to thank you. I'll start off and I'll let Reek take it from there. For like journey down memory lane for me personally. I have to say, after being not needing to go to your store for just like a decade or two, I have to say going in there when I had a grandchild was like tearful. I think I remember being tearful because I just remember saying, wow, I miss this place so much because it's so to be in your store, just joyful, just looking at you, all those toys in the back. It's just brings so much joy to remember the pleasure of being in there and trying to find something and turning to you and saying, I have no idea what I should get, and having you pick out something that has always been a home run. And I just want to thank you so much for being such a diamond in our community and how you've been here all this time. And I'm so thankful that you made it through pretty much most of the pandemic. And I just look forward to coming over and over again to your store. And I hope everyone who has not been there runs there immediately and tell your friends to go there too. Arit, do you have anything to say?
Well, no, actually, I mean, I think that you've said it really well. And other than the fact that I love going into the store, and I also, as Nikki said, I've never been steered wrong, and I'm looking forward to coming back because Zevi is he's about to turn 3, so yeah, you gave us some really excellent ideas today. Thank you. And
thank you.
Thank you. And like as Stephanie said, thank you for being a part of our community. And you really have been around. You kind of ageless a little bit because, I mean, if you really think about it.
Marie, look who's talking. Come on.
Well,
no, I mean,
well,
Jesus. It's
actually,
been
if we're going to talk about age, when I started, I had hair. So let's be honest. But thank you for all your. Thank you for all of your kind words. I appreciate that. And I look forward to seeing you when you feel comfortable, when all of you feel comfortable and are inclined to come in. We appreciate that. And thank you for this opportunity. That's been, it's been wonderful. And I appreciate your graciousness.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mick. And thank you again to all of our Shalom Baby co-sponsors. Thank you to all of you who have joined us today. Of course, we have a long list of sponsors who have made Shalom Baby possible. Ultimately, Shalom Baby is an initiative of Women's Philanthropy of the Jewish Federation of Greater New Haven. And I want to give a special shout out to Amy Holtz, who is my supervisor, who has her first grandbaby, who is now 3 weeks old, and to Judy Alperin, our CEO, whose grandbaby just turned 1 or is about to turn 1. Did he already have his birthday? 1-year-old. So a big mazel tov to those. But again, thank you all for joining us today on this rainy Sunday afternoon. And this session has been recorded. So if there are other parents and grandparents in your life who did not have the opportunity to join the discussion, encourage them to visit our website at jewishnewhaven.org. We would also love to hear from you, any kind of feedback or what kind of programming would be meaningful to you. That is linked in the chat box, as well as everything else mentioned before. And we are going to let you go enjoy the rest of your evening. Have a
Thank
wonderful
you,
night,
Kate.
everyone.